Hi, folks. Bob Mannery here. You're listening to A2D Radio, real sports talk radio for the fans, by the fans, no agenda. These guys are the best in the business. Hashtag it. No notes.
A2D Radio, Sports Hounds, with until 10 o'clock. Sixers in action as we speak. A monster double-digit lead on the Boston Celtics at the Wells Fargo Center. Hopefully they can hold on to this game, show some pride, not get swept. But, Brad, I've been extremely disappointed with 2 of the 3 games. Extremely disappointed. We're going to get to our Scanzano Sports poll question of the night. Sports Hounds is always brought to you live on A2D Radio, BMW of Atlantic City Studios. Brad Ryer, Rob Brinkman, Frank Vesby producing the show. As always, Scanzano Sports poll question today. Who's responsible for this 0-3 deficit that the Philadelphia 76ers are in? We got choices of Brett Brown, Ben Simmons, Robert Covington, or lack of playoff experience.
How about all of the above?
All of the above? That's a valid answer. Ben Simmons was horrendous in game 2.
Which game did he score 1 point?
Game 2. He had 1 point, which is terrible, but he had a bad game. He's 19 years old.
Covington's been doing the same thing.
Covington has been streaky. That's the book on Covington. He's streaky. He's either going to go out and look like an NBA All-Star, make 5 threes, score 20 points, shut down the opposing team's best player.
25 minutes and get 3 points.
And just get beat like a dog repeatedly on defense. For me, it's Brett Brown. Game 2 was solely on Brett Brown's shoulders. He got absolutely fleeced by Brad Stevens. He's been getting fleeced by Brad Stevens all series, but when they're on that huge run in Game 2 at the end of the first half, you don't call a timeout, gather the pups together, and regroup. You just let Boston run up and down the floor on you guys. Poor use of timeout.
Part of the problem.
Lack of inbounds plays, again, coming up with this basketball team with Brett Brown in Game 3. Awful.
When the Celtics call a timeout and they have an inbounds play, they always make an ESPN-type play. It's always
they get a layup.
Play. Yeah,
they get a layup
they get
every time.
Plays. The Sixers for whatever reason, I think that's just playoff experience, and just getting caught up in the moment somewhat. Ben Simmons also has to work on his mid-range jump shot.
He needs a jumper. That's for sure.
He needs that. And the other thing I wanted to say was Embiid. Embiid just looks like he's not in shape right now. I mean, he looks dog-tired in the middle of these games. And I mean, I guess from the concussion, he wasn't able to get a lot of running in. He just looks like he gets tired. He's getting tired.
You can tell he hates playing with that stupid mask too.
Yeah.
You can just tell he hates it. He loves taking it off to shoot his foul shots.
Yeah, I mean,
can't wait.
There's no question about that. But I mean, he's getting beat too many times by Horford. I mean, it's ridiculous. It shouldn't that should not be happening. I think it's because he's just tired. I don't think he's in the greatest shape in the world because he wasn't able to really. When you have a concussion. How much running could he have possibly done? He may have been on the bike.
Probably none.
The bike is not going to keep you in shape. You have to run. And I think it's.
We've been doing it. We've been doing a show together. What is this? Our third year, different station doing a show together, Sports Hounds. How many times did I roast the Sixers with how they babied Embiid? What did I always say?
Stop.
How do you get in basketball shape? There's only one answer.
Play.
You play basketball.
Yeah.
Well, I think there's definitely merit to that argument.
But
he's not one of the choices. He's not one of the choices to the poll question because of his injury. Al Horford is a good player. I don't understand how this guy, Adrian Bain, whatever the fuck his name is even a factor on Boston. I also don't understand what this team is doing from a defensive rotational standpoint. Now, it does look like they're going to win tonight, which is fantastic. They'll be 3-1. As we speak, they're only up 12 now. with 7:32 to go. So this puppy's not over. We're gonna have the conclusion of the game and all post game stuff for you in the second hour as well. We're also gonna be talking NHL playoffs, post draft NFL, and as always Major League Baseball. But they're out 12 with 7:32. So this isn't in the bag yet.
No.
By any means at all. But back to their defensive rotations, they've been piss poor in this series the whole time. I don't understand how many times you can let Terry Rozier get to the rack with ease.
I understand how you could have so many wide open 3-pointers.
Same with Tatum. Now, Brett Brown, to his credit, did make a lineup change tonight. He started T.J. McConnell tonight instead of Robert Covington to match up better with Terry Rozier, who's just been – he's been a thorn in everyone's side since Kyrie Irving went out, but especially the Sixers here. TJ doing a great job according to stats. 11 points, 7 rebounds, 2 assists for Terry Rozier. If you told me he was going to have that
he's not killing
at the beginning of the game, I would say the Sixers win easy, and they're up double digits right now. He's minus 13 on the plus-minus range if you're an analytics person, but man, but I just don't understand. And then I don't understand how Covington can be so inconsistent. I don't understand how he can look like a second or third team All-NBA defender 1 minute and then just look lost and confused and looking around like he has no idea what to do.
Particularly offensively.
I'm talking about defensively. I'm not even going to get to his struggles shooting the basketball, his inconsistency there. I don't understand how you can be a fucking 3-and-D guy when you don't play good defense and you don't shoot the ball good. I don't understand this narrative where he's a 3-and-D guy.
Yeah, he's.
And I know I come off.
He's had a rough series without a doubt. But it's not just him. I mean, Simmons. It seems to me that if you get the Sixers to play a half-court game,
they suck because their coach isn't good enough.
Yeah, they're not nearly as effective, and the Celtics, for the most part, have been able to impose their will and slow the game down defensively so that the Sixers don't run. I mean, Simmons in the open court is as deadly.
There might be no one better.
Yeah, I agree, but I think obviously at this point in his career, and he's just a baby. Remember.
Because their whole half-court offense is to have Redick, Bellinelli come off screens and shoot threes. And if they're not making their threes, they don't score in the half court.
Well, the other problem is how about Embiid getting the ball down low and maybe trying to get Horford in foul trouble? I mean, how about getting some 2-point shots? Making Boston play defense instead of running gun with these 3-pointers all the time. I mean, I get it. That's part of your identity, but you've got a 7-foot monster at center who can go inside.
He shoots too many threes. I totally agree with you.
And why is he settling for 3-pointers? He should be going inside. I mean, Horford has been a major factor. If you make Horford play defense, if you go in and you get it and you go inside on him, you're going to get him to commit some fouls. How about maybe if you go inside for the first 5 or 6 minutes of the game, get 2 fouls on him and make him sit for 5, 6 minutes in the first quarter.
That's sort of what happened tonight, except Tatum got in foul trouble. He got three early ones on the perimeter, and he had to sit, and the Sixers were able to do some things.
Well, they got to do that with Horford too. I mean, this is what they need to do. They can't just. And I'm sure next year, I'm sure that they'll do a good job in being a little bit more well-rounded, and you have to give some props to Brett Brown for being able to find what the strengths are of this team. Now they just have to clean it up a little bit and fine-tune.
All right, we got him flying in on Facebook here. Dion Brown, what up, fellas? Dion, what up? For me, everyone has to take part in the blame. 90-78 Sixers. I agree, but, I mean.
Yeah, I think it's all of the above. But, I mean, the two biggest culprits, obviously, to me, are Simmons and Covington.
But, Brad, Simmons had, granted it was a terrible game, but it was only one bad game. He had 16, 8, and 8, I believe, on Saturday.
Yeah, but the problem is, they're not offensively playing. He's the point guard. He's the leader of the team offensively.
Correct.
they do not seem to be in sync offensively right now, and they're not using Markelle Fultz at all. At all.
I mean, Fultz is a lost season for Fultz.
Yeah, I mean, they're not using him at all.
And it's a shame because I think he would. It's a shame his head's up his ass because I think he'd actually be able to help a great deal against these athletes on the perimeter.
I think so.
Because their problem in this series is Ersan Ilyasova, Marco Bellinelli, and J.J. Redick. They're not good enough defensively to hang with the athletes Boston has on the perimeter.
No. They're not.
They're not defensive players. They're shooters. They're offensive guys.
They're sharpshooters.
And then the guy who's supposed to be able to stick with a Tatum or a Rozier, Robert Covington, he's out to lunch half the time.
Well, again, I don't know if that's coaching or if it's him. It's hard to know. I mean,
Robert Covington's not that good. He's average. He's an average player. And I know that really hurts these process believers' feelings, but that's what he is. I get it. Robert Covington, I love his backstory. He came in undrafted or second-round pick. I believe he was undrafted. D-League, signed with the Sixers, busted his hump on teams that were winning 10, 15 games every year, got himself paid, and love the backstory. But he's not that good.
But maybe he's more of a role player.
You cannot win an NBA championship with Robert Covington starting at the small forward or shooting guard position.
Yeah, he needs to be.
He can't be your best wing.
Yeah, he needs to be like a sixth man, or a set.
I think seventh, eighth. I think even
he'd be good as a bench player for them. I agree with you, but again, I think a lot of Sixer fans are taking this thing way out of proportion. At the beginning of the season, what were you guys expecting where were you expecting them to be?
We talked about it.
I mean, most fans.
I had them as like a 7-8 seed and getting losing the first round to a Cleveland, Toronto, or Boston.
Okay, they got.
But Brad, see, but that's such bullshit though because things change.
I understand that, but again,
when you have Simmons developing like that and Embiid developing like that, and then you're coming in a Celtics team that Gordon Hayward's been out all year and Kyrie Irving's out, my expectations. Brown is hurt as well.
Yeah, and Brown.
My expectations change.
Yeah, no, I agree with you, and I picked the Sixers to win the series in 5. I really thought they would, except they're in this position right now where they playoff experience-wise, they just couldn't match up with Boston. Now, maybe they'll come back. I don't think they will. I think they're looking pretty good to win tonight, and you would hope so because, Game 4, it's all hands on deck, and you want to defend your home court. You don't want to lose and have the other team celebrating on your court. That whole thing. So, you would expect that they would win tonight.
Big Greg Milikovic. What up, fellas? The answer is easy. It's Brad's fault. This is what you get when a New York guy starts rooting for Philly.
It's my
LOL.
fault.
In all seriousness, hold on, he's not done. He took a jab at you, but now he's going to answer the question. In all seriousness, though, it's a little bit of everyone. If I had to rank, I'd go Ben, Experience, Brett, and then Rocco. See, I don't agree with that. I think Ben would be last, in my opinion. Brett Brown's head honcho.
Brett
Brown's the answer to the question, in my opinion.
I agree with you.
Number 2 would be lack of playoff experience because that's why they lost Game 3. They were just lost down the stretch and overtime, and that turnover was so bad. I thought Tom McGinnis. I was listening on the radio as I was driving around. It was Cinco de Mayo. I thought Tom McGinnis was going to have a stroke.
They really needed an experienced point guard to be in the game with Simmons, just to calm things down, and that's where they really needed that kind of a player. I mean and look, Simmons is still learning on the job. He's a fabulous player. We know that, and they'll be light years better next year in the playoffs. But
right, you mean when they sign LeBron?
If they do, they'll be
LeBron's coming.
To deal with.
Tom Arnone, little bit of everything, but this shit ain't over. I agree with that. I mean, Flyers, they came back on the Bruins. They were 3-0.
It's never over until the fat lady sings. And
Sixers up 10 with 3 minutes 53 seconds to go. Sorry, go ahead.
They're
Brad.
not losing tonight. They're not losing.
Brad, I hope you knock on some wood or something. There's still plenty of time left.
They're not going to lose tonight. They're going to win tonight. The whole thing is, what can they do in Boston? Can they make the Celtic fans swallow real heavily in Game 5? You know, can they get them nervous? Can they go out there and maybe win Game 5, and then all of a sudden have?
I will say this
really,
though:
really,
if they
really
hold on to this lead and go into Boston and win Game 5, which I totally think they're capable of doing,
they are.
The Wells Fargo Center is going to be fucking rocking for
Oh,
Game
yeah.
6.
Oh yeah, I mean.
So I would really like their chances at home in a Game 6, and then you're in Game 7, and who knows?
See, I think these guys now were a victim of their success. A lot of it with the Sixers. They've gotten so good so fast, and they've gotten so far so quickly. I think it just hit them, and I think they got nervous. They panicked a little bit. Remember, these guys are. Yeah, I mean, Ben Simmons is what, 19?
He's 19 years old. Yes.
How old is Embiid?
23.
These guys have never been in the NBA playoffs. How many NCAA tournaments was Simmons in? One?
None. He didn't make it.
I mean, when has he played championship type
Never.
basketball?
AAU.
That's what I'm trying.
Australian national team. I don't know.
That's all I'm trying.
Maybe
to
never.
Say.
I don't know.
I mean, the same thing goes for Embiid. I mean, he's been basically injured for the last 3 seasons. Last season he played a little bit, but I mean, in college, what NCAA tournament experience did he have? Did he have any?
Embiid?
Yeah.
No, he was hurt. He hurt his back.
Okay. Well, think about that. Okay, this is really the first time that they have played, in a playoff series against highly competitive, high-level, best players in the world. Basketball in that kind of a situation.
But Boston doesn't have the best players in the world. Their
But
two best players in the world are injured. That's what makes this so frustrating.
But they're playoff tested, and they, as a team, are playing at a very high level. And that you have to
And
give
they have a
them
great
credit
coach.
for that. Yeah, you have to give them credit for that.
I give them all the credit in
And
the world.
defensively-
Doesn't mean I have to like it.
No,
I don't.
I understand, but defensively, they are playing at a very high level, and they've kept a very good offensive team. The Sixers in check. They've been able to confuse them. And because of their youth, they haven't been able to rally and get their bearings straight and weather the storm. They just haven't been able to do it. I think that this whole experience, win or lose this series, it's gonna make them a lot better next year. And God forbid if they get LeBron, it's just gonna be.
They're getting someone. They're getting someone on the wing.
It's gonna either be
It's
George.
Paul George. They'll make a trade for Kawhi Leonard because
Yeah.
Brett Brown has roots there. I think he would come
But
and play
the
here.
question is if
Or LeBron. Somebody's coming.
if they were, let's say they don't get LeBron, if they went after Leonard, it would have to be a trade.
Correct.
Okay.
Or you got to wait a year
Yeah.
for him to be a free agent.
Yeah. I mean, who would the centerpiece of the trade be? Fultz.
Fultz, Saric. They have 2 first-round picks to play with. They have Rocco to play with.
Okay.
They have the assets
Then they
to get
have
it
the
done.
assets to do it. Yes.
I mean, it obviously, in a perfect world,
Fultz would have to be the centerpiece, though. You would think.
I think Saric would be the centerpiece.
But if you're San Antonio,
Fultz hasn't done anything.
Yeah, that's true.
Fultz
They
is head up.
probably
He doesn't even play.
Yeah,
I
they
mean,
probably wouldn't even want.
they
him,
would
right?
take Fultz.
No, I mean I know they would take him, but as the centerpiece of the trade.
I mean, Fultz was the first pick in the whole draft.
I know.
So
I
he
realize that.
he still has
What
some
was
shine
Tatum,
on
what
him.
was Tatum, the third?
Third.
Boy, it's amazing how the Celtics.
Yeah, the Sixers screwed it up big time. All right, still flying in on Facebook. Mike Parker, I think our guys are looking better, and their guys are becoming more and more banged up. I guess he's talking about the Celtics guys becoming banged up. Marcus Smart hit the deck a bunch of times tonight, so maybe he's got Mike Parker. Bring in Anderson for a couple minutes. I'll read it before I say how much I don't like Justin Anderson. Bring in Anderson for a couple minutes with the job of fouling Smart on his thumb. I mean, guess if you want to bring him in to be a goon, I guess that's fine. But, I mean, as much as we dog Robert Covington on this show, as much as I dog Robert Covington on social media and all that stuff, he is exponentially better than Justin Anderson. If you're trying to win the basketball game, I'm putting Robert Covington in, not Justin Anderson. 600 million times out of 600 million times.
What is Anderson going to do? Be a goon? rough it up. I mean, this isn't hockey. It's not like he can go out there and throw hard body checks and get the crowd all rolling. If you do that, you're going to be committing fouls, and the other team's going to be getting points. So it's
no.
not like
I mean,
you can
Justin
really...
Anderson. Justin Anderson is an end of the bench guy. He's a guy you can give some run on a Tuesday night against the Hornets or some BS opponent like that to maybe give
score?
Simmons a rest.
No.
Okay,
so then
no.
There's no.
He can make an open jump shot. And he can defend, but he's a poor man's Robert Covington.
Okay, so he's going to come in the last minute of the game when the game's out of reach.
Correct. Yeah, that's the type of player. That's the type of player he is.
Okay.
Michael Wesley Chromiak. What up, Chromo? I don't want Leonard because they demand Dario to be part of a deal. I have no issue with Fultz and a first-round pick, but Dario is the epitome of a Spurs guy. Pop would love him. Yeah, that's the point. I mean, you got to give to get. They're not just going to give away Kawhi Leonard.
No. Keep in mind, what I don't think they're understanding, Rob, is that there's 30 other teams in the NBA who wouldn't mind having them. And
right, but there's very few teams with as many assets.
No, I understand that, but I'm just saying, but a lot of teams have assets that they can trade for Kawhi Leonard. You're going to have to make a deal.
I mean, maybe the Lakers have enough young players.
You're going to have to make a deal that's better than the rest of the league because everybody in the league is going to want to try to get him. I mean, he's a great player. I mean,
right, but
so you're not going to. All I'm saying
number
is you're not
one,
gonna steal him though.
No, you're not going to steal.
Yeah, and that's
the
what
Spurs
I think.
Aren't stupid. They're in the playoffs every year for a reason. They absolutely know what they're doing.
That's the point
but
I'm trying to
make.
You're not going to get him for nothing.
When I hear people just dismiss a Leonard trade because you might have to give up Sarge, like who cares? Who cares if you give up Sarge?
Yeah, for him.
For Kawhi Leonard?
Yeah, that's.
I think Kawhi Leonard's the second best player in the NBA. I think people have forgotten how good he is because he's got whatever going down there. It's
out of sight, out of mind.
I guess Durant's better than him, but Durant's not as good a two-way player as him. So he's second or third.
Probably third or fourth.
But
I mean,
you see what you do. You trade Sarge, you trade Fultz, you trade Covington, whatever picks they want for Leonard. Then you go out and sign LeBron because they can afford both because they haven't paid anybody. Then you got a core of LeBron, Kawhi, Simmons, and Embiid, and then you'll never lose a game.
No, you won't lose.
That's when guys like JJ Redick re-sign for the league minimum, like the Warriors get with the guys that they get.
Like Iguodala and guys like that.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
Then those guys want to come to the Sixers because they're going to win.
Right, because they've made their money, and now it's about winning a championship, and that's very true. But I mean, it's going to be hard for them to do all that.
Chromo, hey fellas, I think Brett Brown's clearly been outcoached in this series. Removing TJ in Game 2 was crucial. He was creating plays and energy. He failed repeatedly in the series to make second half adjustments. That's a fantastic point. Learning experience for all of them. Excellent point by Chromo there. I forgot to mention that. I don't know what Brett Brown's been doing at halftime, but they come out in the third quarter, which is really when the Sixers, if you really examine their win streak and when they really bury teams and were able to win by 20, 30, sometimes even 40 points in the regular season.
Halftime adjustments.
Adjustments. They would come out, they would get open shots, and they would knock them down. He's been fleeced at halftime in halftime adjustments by Brad Stevens.
Well, Brad Stevens is a very good coach. I mean, and keep in mind, Brad Stevens has also had some very good players on his team and has had his team together longer than Brett Brown has. So
and then
there's that too.
Well,
I mean, these guys have been playing together for a lot longer, and they've been through a lot more together. So there is something to be said for that. But just think if they had Kyrie and they had Brown and they had who's the other guy that's hurt? The center. He got hurt at the beginning of the season for Boston.
Well, Horford's back.
Yeah. The other one, the center. Who do they lose at the beginning of the season? That's out for the season. The Celtics.
Gordon Hayward.
Hayward, yeah.
He's not. He's a swing man. He's a small
What
forward.
is center? Oh, okay.
Shooting guard. No.
But they lost. But you think about it. They lost those.
They lost 2 top 15 players in the league.
Yeah.
That they're short right now, and they're. I know Sixers fans is tough to hear, but they're probably going to go to the Eastern Conference Finals. Probably.
Most likely.
Probably.
Most likely.
Sixers up 11, 46 seconds to go.
So this game is.
I got to give Brett Brown credit, though. I roasted him at the beginning of the show. My answer to the Scanzano Sports poll question today is who's responsible for the 0-3 deficit. He started T.J. McConnell tonight over Robert Covington. T.J. McConnell is killing it. 19 points, 7 rebounds, 5 assists. He's a plus 17 on the plus-minus. Energy, making plays, just being a pest like T.J. McConnell's been all season. So that's good work out of Brett Brown tonight. Well, recognizing that Robert Covington hasn't had his A game, shifts him to the bench. Robert Covington, by the way, 18 minutes, a whopping 3 points. 1 for 7 from the floor, 1 for 5 from 3,
so
0 from 0 from the line, 4 rebounds, 3 assists. Like, can we stop with the 3-and-D narrative that's not a 3-and-D guy. No. He's average. He's so average. He's a seventh, eighth man.
McConnell that was a good move.
Oh, well, that's that.
Can you make
Robert Covington just lost his starting spot if you ask me.
Can you make the argument that Brett Brown waited too long to do that?
Obviously. The answer is yes.
Yeah, you can make that argument.
But I'm also a firm believer is you got to do with what got you there. You got to stick with what got you there to a degree.
Right. But you are allowed to make adjustments on the way. Basketball is about matchups. And if there's one particular matchup that you're getting killed at, you've got to change something. Now, that's the only argument I would make about Brown is that, maybe that's something that should have happened earlier. He shouldn't have waited so long. But, would it have made a difference? Probably. That's the painful thing about it. Covington hasn't done anything in this series. He's had a miserable series.
He had a fantastic game too, but
1, 3,
1 for 7, 1 for 5 from 3.
Yeah,
it's pathetic. It's not. That's not a $64 million performance. That's not a starter on a championship contender. You can't have your small forward or your starting 2 guard go 1 for 7 in the NBA in the Eastern Conference semifinal and expect to win. No, looks like they're gonna win tonight, but
he wasn't the starting. But he wasn't a starter tonight. He came. He. How many minutes did he play?
18.
18. Okay, well then he played. He played
reserve minutes.
Yeah, so that's what he's going to be doing then for the rest of the season.
All right, we got bunch of stuff flying in here. Deion Brown, why is it we aren't seeing Fultz at this point in the series? Mike Parker's baffled why Fultz isn't getting any minutes.
You're not
Gina Rambo's wondering the same thing Deion is.
He's not playing this series. Brett Brown obviously doesn't trust him.
T.J. McConnell has taken his spot.
Yeah,
T.J. McConnell's now the starting shooting guard, I guess.
Brett Brown knows his team obviously better than we do. And if he feels that Fultz is not his best option or is not an option right now, then he's going to be doing the right thing. I don't think you could really get on his case about that. He gave him 10 games at the end of the season to show them what they got, and obviously he's still playing Frady scared out there with his shooting. It must be that in practice or whatever, because if Brett Brown's not giving him an opportunity to play,
he got his chance to really take hold of the backup point guard spot against the Heat. He didn't seize his opportunity.
Well, he didn't play that well. That's why he's not playing.
He's 6'4".
Listen,
it's disappointing that
the number 1 pick in the draft is not playing big minutes right now. That's disappointing.
But Sixers fans,
but he's also a baby, guys.
Forget about it. He's 19 years old, 18, 19 years old. He's a baby. I'm not giving up on him, but you can give up on him in terms of this season.
Yes,
because
I agree with
I
that.
think it's pretty safe to say that the Cleveland
He's not playing. He's not
Cle-
playing this year.
and right, and if they do come back from 3-0, they're going to be playing the Cleveland LeBron Jameses in the Eastern Conference Finals.
And he's not going to play in that
He's not going to
series
play in
either.
that series either. So just forget about Markelle Fultz. It's a lost season. Ben Simmons lost his rookie year basically. Embiid basically whiffed on his first 2 seasons. So, and they're both fine. So if they're not able to trade Fultz for a guy like Leonard or an elite wing as part of a package,
Then you keep him and you develop him. And listen, if they trade him, somebody's going to try to develop him. I mean, he's going to end up. I think the guy has ability, but it's between the years that seems to be the problem with him. So we'll see what happens with him. Is that a final yet?
it's got to be. There's 26 seconds left. That is a final 103-92. There's still a pulse on the process.
There we go.
Woohoo!
The season
So-
still lives on
So
Faint
we will
pulse.
for
be,
now.
A
So-
faint pulse for the process.
So when is Game 5?
Wednesday.
Game 5 is Wednesday.
Wednesday.
Is
Game
that
5 is
another?
Wednesday.
Is that another 6 o'clocker?
I am not sure yet. I think it's a to be determined as of right now because I know the Cavs and the Raptors
But
are
hey, they're-
starting up right now. Let's figure it out.
Well, that series will be over after tonight.
Yeah, that'll be-
so
It's probably
it'll
going to be
an
the
8
end.
o'clock
What's it?
game.
What's it? It's what is it? 8:30 now.
8:30.
So what?
Yeah,
about
it's-
11 o'clock tonight. LeBron James will be in a
Conference finals.
in the conference finals.
Yeah,
again.
right now it's to be determined.
Okay, so,
So it's
it'll be 8 o'clock on. It'll be 8
it
o'clock
could be
or
an 8
7:30.
o'clock or 6:30 game, but that all depends on what's going to happen with the Cavs Raptors game.
I
but
have no faith in the Raptors
Yeah.
winning Game
Oh,
5.
the
typical
Raptors are-
playoff Raptors teams.
What did Tom? What did Tom
Boy,
posted?
oh
The
boy.
one. What do you call 'em, memes or gifs or
Talk
whatever?
Yeah,
Talk
with
about choking
with the basketball
dogs.
player in the Barney. In the
That was funny too.
That was probably-
I just shared that one. I'm talking about the one where the guy's clipping his nails during the middle of the
clipping
game.
nails?
He's clipping,
Oh.
he's clipping his nails
Oh, jeez.
against the 1 seed in the East. Like, yeah, this is over. I'm just gonna.
Yeah, and the most recent one with the guy playing Barney. in the-
Right, that's on my Facebook page.
I'm
You check that out.
cracking up when I saw that.
I have a score from Pittsburgh right now with 4:28 to go.
Yes, that's a big
in
game.
the second period. It is 1-1.
1-1.
The
Mm.
Capitals opened
Oh,
up the
boy.
scoring. Chason scored from Beagle and Walker, and then the Penguins scored 10 minutes later at 11:52. Letang, number 3, from Dumoulin and Sid Crosby.
Can we talk about before we go to hockey? I know you're itching to talk about hockey, but can we just talk about LeBron and how fucking
great he is?
good he is?
He's unbelievable.
It's unreal.
He really is great.
The fact you can't say he doesn't have a killer instinct and he's not clutch anymore. That narrative is out the window.
No, you know what? Listen,
He developed a killer instinct.
He may not be Jordan, but you know what? He's the best player of this era by a mile, and in a historical sense, he's one of the all-time greats. in
If
this
he
league.
wins the championship this year somehow
With
with
that
this
team?
this
he's
cast
not gonna win a championship with that team.
jabronis he has got in Cleveland right now,
that's
he's better than
impossible.
Jordan.
It's impossible.
But
He's not going to be.
I'm not
Houston or
this guy,
Golden State with
Brad.
that,
I'm telling you,
with that crap that he's got
LeBron
on his
is
team.
possessed by higher powers right now.
I
He's
understand that, but
unbelievable.
He can't play 1-on-5
Game-
against.
He is.
Golden-
He has
Not
been.
against Golden State and against.
I wouldn't
Houston.
count him out.
Oh, that's impossible. He can't. I know how.
Did you see Game 3?
I appreciate his greatness. I really do. But
No, it was Game
that's
2. It was Game
impossible.
2 in Toronto. I've never seen someone play like LeBron played, as good as LeBron played in the second half of Game 2.
And he does. By the way, he does make the guys around him better. Anybody who says that he doesn't is they need to put down the crack pipe because he's just ridiculous. He's so good, and he makes everybody on the court better. He makes the coach better. He makes the goddamn water boy better.
It's
I mean, he's unbelievable.
it's unbelievable, and
I mean,
I
he's
would
such a
bet
great
I
team
would
player.
bet I would bet on a sweep. I
Yeah,
would bet on a sweep. I think they're going to go tonight. They'll rest.
I don't see Toronto winning. First of all, the game's in Cleveland, and that just makes it even all the more.
Those
difficult.
turnaround jumpers he was hitting against the Raptors.
Listen, Game 2, that 3-pointer that he made in Game 2 to win the game, was it Game 2, that 3-pointer?
That was Game 5 of.
No, this year.
That was Game 5 of the Pacers.
Okay, well, there was. Okay, but that one game, that shot that he made against the Pacers, that shot was ridiculous.
Right, Frank. That was Game 5 of the Pacers series, right?
For
That
LeBron's
3-point
buzzer beater.
That
LeBron's buzzer
3-point
beater?
buzzer beater.
And then he hit one the other night.
Yeah, he hit one the other
Is that the one you're talking about against the
other-
Raptors?
The one against the
the
Raptors.
floater that
yes.
he banked in?
He beat the I think it was Game 2.
It was
It was Game 2.
it
You're
was
right.
Game 2. Yeah.
It was Game
And he
2.
hit the 3 against
No,
the
he
Pacers
hit
in
the
Game
3,
5.
that ridiculous 3 against the Pacers, but the one against the Raptors, I mean, my God, are you kidding me? I mean, that
Right, it's
shot,
unreal.
I can't believe he made that shot.
No.
And that basically
no.
ended.
If he played in the 80s, he wouldn't have done anything.
If he played in the 80s.
If he played in the 80s,
Yeah, okay.
Bill Laimbeer would have knocked him on his ass. You know what you're talking? Yeah, I know exactly what I'm talking about.
Bill Laimbeer, he would
have ran circles around Bill Laimbeer. He would have ran circles around Larry Bird. He would have ran circles around Magic Johnson. There's 3 players from that.
None of those, by the way, none of those 3 players that you mentioned. Well, Laimbeer played defense, but the other guys you mentioned.
Oh, the
never
bad
played any
boys. They would have
defense.
knocked. Yeah, okay. Bill Laimbeer would try and hard foul LeBron, and he would
With the
absorb
rules-
the blow.
Let's put it
Bill
this way, the
Laimbeer
rules-
he would be
Bill
the one on
Laimbeer
his
was the
ass.
Bill Laimbeer was the dirtiest player in the NBA back in the day. Okay, so what Bill Laimbeer,
It's just
if he
stupid.
played today with the style he played back then, he fell out.
Oh, everyone
by the
in
middle of the
today's
second
NBA
quarter.
is soft.
Yeah,
Diminishes
okay.
LeBron. It
Okay.
diminishes
No.
LeBron. It doesn't matter. He wouldn't have done
No.
anything in the 80s.
That's not true. That's not true. LeBron would be a beast in any era. He's a great player. He's fast. He's strong. He shoots the ball well.
No one in the 80s. Let's look at it the other way, which no one wants to do. Could anyone from the 80s match the speed, athletic, size combination that LeBron has?
Well, I'll give you a guy from the 80s and 70s who would have thrived in basketball today, and maybe even have been better. It's Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
Well, I mean, Doy, like,
I'm just saying. You're
I
asking.
know,
You're
but
asking. I'm giving you a.
he's not going to cover LeBron.
Boy, Kareem was pretty quick though. He had pretty quick.
And
feet.
these people that blow up my Facebook, Karl Malone. Like, Karl Malone can't cover
Karl Malone
LeBron.
couldn't cover
Charles
LeBron.
Barkley can't cover LeBron.
No.
There's 3 players.
Jordan couldn't cover LeBron either. So let's.
There's
be
3.
honest.
There's 3 players from the 80s, 90s era that I think could do a pretty good job on LeBron, maybe get in his head and hold him to a human-esque game rather than the superhuman stuff that he would. Scottie Pippen, correct.
Anthony Mason, who is one of the best defensive
I
players
don't
the
have
Knicks
Anthony
ever
Mason,
had.
but I get what you're saying.
Yeah,
They were all on the Bulls. They were all on the 90s
Well,
Bulls team.
Scottie
Jordan,
Pippen,
Rodman,
Rodman,
and Pippen.
I don't know about Jordan. I don't think Jordan could have stopped. Could have slowed LeBron down.
None of those
defensively.
guys can stop him.
I think Rodman and Pippen would do a good job defensively on him. I think they would make life very, very difficult for him. I mean, listen, Iguodala makes his life pretty darn difficult. So, I mean, I think there are some guys. Let's put it this way. In the 80s, there'd be few and far between, and very few of them had his game back then. As a matter of fact, nobody could play both ends of the court like him.
Like who? Sorry,
LeBron.
LeBron. It's unbelievable.
Nobody could play both ends of the court like him.
Unbelievable. Oh, you're not that good at D.
Yeah, yes, he is. No, he is that
Except
good.
he is.
He is that good. Now, is he a better shooter than Jordan? No.
Yes. He's a better statistically speaking, he's a better 3-point shooter than Michael Jordan.
Yeah, but I'd rather have
Mid-range,
Jordan
no, but
over-
3-pointers.
No, it's a different game though. Jordan probably didn't.
I'm
take
just
as
saying
many.
the stats. The stats are the
Okay.
stats.
Okay.
LeBron is statistically a better 3-point shooter than Michael Jordan was. He's also a better rebound.
Does he have a higher percentage? Is that what you're saying?
Right.
Okay.
That's correct.
All right. Well, that
He's a
might be
better
true, but
passer. He's a better passer than Jordan was. He's a better rebounder than Jordan. He has a higher basketball IQ than Jordan. Jordan was 6 for 6 in championships. I'll give him his due. Michael Jordan's the greatest player ever, unless LeBron wins the championship this year, that would put LeBron over Jordan, in my opinion. But he's probably not going to win the championship this year. The Warriors are probably going to win the championship. But
or the Rockets.
just stop. And don't tell me you're a diehard Sixers fan and say you don't want LeBron.
Oh,
What are you
you
on,
gotta be
crack?
kidding me.
What are you on, drugs?
Who wouldn't want LeBron? Who wouldn't want him?
There's a lot of people that want him. There's a lot of people that think he's a tool.
So?
Yeah, that's what I so.
So?
He's the only player ever to average a triple-double in the finals.
Really? I mean, listen, I hate to say it, but, not every player is Mr. Wonderful. I don't really care what they
And that's the
they
thing.
produce.
LeBron is Mr. Wonderful. Married his high school sweetheart. Gives the most money to charity in the whole NBA. It goes on and on. This guy is a legitimate role model. Charles Barkley wasn't a role model. Michael Jordan sure as hell wasn't a role model. Isaiah Thomas wasn't a role model.
No, you're right.
Magic Johnson, clearly he wasn't a role model with his medical condition he's suffering from.
No, Karl Malone was. Karl Malone
was a good dude, but he's not a top 10 player all time like LeBron is.
No.
Top 5 even.
No.
Larry Bird was a great ambassador of the game. Seemed like a standout guy.
Larry Bird could never play defense like LeBron.
No.
I mean, listen, offensively only, okay? Larry Bird he didn't necessarily have the muscle that LeBron had, but as far as passing, was on par with LeBron passing. He was definitely a better shooter than LeBron. I've never seen anybody
3-point shooting.
who was a better shooter than Larry Bird. I mean,
Larry Bird, LeBron's the best, has the highest basketball IQ of today. Larry Bird had the highest basketball IQ of
ever
that era.
Yeah, ever. No, Larry Bird
I don't know. LeBron's is pretty high.
I'll tell you another guy who had an incredibly high basketball IQ. He never won a championship. Never had the kind of team that could win a championship. Was Jason Kidd.
Yeah, agreed.
He had an unbelievable basketball
agreed.
IQ. But if you're comparing,
but he couldn't shoot and score like Bird or LeBron or anyone like that.
LeBron is really in a league by himself. He's such a great player. This stuff about Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant is not as good as LeBron. Okay?
Not even close.
No.
Not even close. He's not even in the same stratosphere.
No.
Neither is Kawhi Leonard. LeBron is in the stratosphere. In terms of today, active players in the NBA,
Rob,
LeBron is in a stratosphere to himself. Then there's everybody else.
Just go back to Game 7 2 years ago, Warriors and Cavs, in the last minute of that game, the block.
The block.
Oh,
but Kyrie hit the shot.
Would it matter? Would it have mattered if LeBron didn't get the block?
No, they would have lost.
That's the whole. There
would have
been
over. There would have been no Kyrie Irving shot without the block.
That block may have been the greatest defensive play I think
it's the most clutch
ever
defensive.
Seen. Because that was almost impossible.
It's the most it's the most clutch defensive play in NBA history.
I mean, the fact that I don't even know where he came from.
He came out of nowhere. He did the same thing in Game 5 against the Pacers.
He wasn't even in the TV screen when
No, because he takes 3 strides and he's up the court. And then
it's unbelievable.
How about Game 5 against the Pacers when he got the block and then hit the 3? Did it all by himself.
Yeah. Well, he's been doing that. I mean, it's amazing because this team that he has is really not good. I mean, seriously, without him, that would be that.
Scott Krulak, Jason Kidd never won a championship. Really, he beat LeBron. I think you guys need help. Nobody said that Jason Kidd was better than LeBron.
I said
absolutely not. You need to get your reading glasses checked, Scott.
You didn't listen.
This
to what
guy,
I said.
see now, he's a friend of mine, and he is the biggest LeBron James hater.
Okay.
In the fucking
did I
universe,
say that Jason
and it makes
Kidd was
no
better
sense.
Than LeBron
Nobody
James?
did. Frank, did we say that?
I said his basketball.
When did we say that?
No, you guys didn't say Kidd was
I didn't
whatever you guys said about
I said
Kidd.
his basketball IQ
was high.
Was very
high.
high.
Yeah, of course Jason Kidd's IQ is high.
It's in that. I mean,
it's probably one of the best IQs with a player that never won a
yeah,
championship. Absolutely.
It's in that same stratosphere as LeBron as far as his IQ. He's not as good a player.
See,
He
but
couldn't
Scott's
shoot.
the kind of guy who will say Jason Kidd never won a championship and then dog LeBron for only having 3 rings. It makes no sense.
Well, listen, you can't
I get
do
it. I get it. He switched.
Oh, wait. He did win a title in 11.
Jason Kidd did win a championship
With the Mavericks.
With the Mavericks against the Heat.
The first year of the LeBron Heat era.
He was on that team?
He was on that team. I completely forgot.
He didn't play minutes, though, did he?
With the Mavericks. Let's see.
He was on that team.
He was
like,
on that
backup.
team. Yeah, he came off the bench. Let's figure it out. Defeated Oklahoma in the NBA Finals. Yeah, he came 9.3 points, 7 assists, 4.5 rebounds, and almost 2 steals per game.
Well, that's wow.
Yeah, during that entire run in the 2011 playoffs, I completely forgot.
I don't recall Jason Kidd on that team at all.
It's been such a while
it's
that
been a long time.
Yeah,
I remember Jason Terry making every 3 he took in that series.
Yeah,
I remember watching that series. I remember,
And
Dirk
Dirk
forgot.
never missed.
They had a whole. I don't know how that team beat the Heat. That was crazy. They got.
It was great.
It was like
That
the
was
Heat-
great.
It was great.
Yeah.
But they just put it all together that
Yeah,
that,
they
that
did.
year.
Yeah, it was like the Eagles last year. Not necessarily the
together.
best team. They had a
But-
great coach,
but-
and
but-
everything fell into place.
Yeah.
Everything they did everything well, and they had a perfect series against the Heat. You know, their center was Tyson Chandler, right?
I believe it was Tyson Chandler.
Yeah, they had
Yeah,
Tyson
fine.
Chandler.
Yeah, they had
Tyson
Tyson
Chandler.
who
He gave
was,
LeBron fits when he tried
Yeah,
to.
and then J.J. Barea was like a hero.
They had
in that.
Barea. They had Jason Terry. They had a lot of pieces on that team.
Yeah, they did. They didn't have the star power that
Right.
the Heat had, but they played like a team. I mean, that's the Heat hadn't really learned to play together yet. They were still in the infancy of their
Wow.
greatness.
Karam
that
Butler was on that team. Wow.
But
They had like a lot of.
Peja
if anybody
Stojakovic
wants-
was
if
also on
anybody
that team
wants
as
to-
well.
They had like a
anybody-
lot of hodgepodge veterans.
Yeah,
that,
a
like,
lot of
never got
veterans.
it done
But
anywhere. And
if
they
anybody
just,
wants to get on me about a comment I made about Jason Kidd not having an incredibly high basketball IQ similar to LeBron, I stand by that statement. He had an incredible I'm not saying he's as good a player. He couldn't shoot. And he's not as great a defensive player. I'm just talking about
well, LeBron
seeing
can't.
the court-
LeBron can't shoot either.
Yes, he can.
Don't you read Facebook?
No, stop. He can definitely shoot.
Don't you look at the internet?
He's not the greatest shooter of all time.
No.
Okay, all right, but he's still a very, very good shooter. I mean, if you leave him alone, he's going to make almost every shot.
Better 3-point shooter than Michael.
Well, if you say so statistically, I mean,
It's a true fact.
it just seemed like when Michael was playing, I don't know, against the Knicks, it seemed like he never missed from 3. But
All right,
suppose he did,
let's
but-
transition here. What do we got? Like 10 minutes before break,
Yeah,
Frank?
about 10 minutes
About
before
10
we go
minutes
to
before
break.
break.
Let's
Switch
take a-
exclusively over to YouTube. Brad, I'm going to turn you loose on hockey. I know you've been itching. The Las Vegas Golden Knights. The Cinderella story continues for the Las Vegas Golden Knights.
Man, they ripped
They eliminate the
Jose.
San Jose Sharks in the 6th game last night. They're on to the Western Conference Finals. They are 4 victories away from a berth in the Stanley Cup playoffs as an expansion team. Unbelievable.
That's crazy. It's
Yeah.
sick that this is happening with them.
Possibly the best expansion team of all time. The
Definitely.
Golden
Is that
Knights.
even a
That's not even a question.
Yeah.
How is it? How is this even possible? that
I
this is
know.
happening?
You just gotta thank
I
that
mean-
expansion draft.
Well, I remember
the Knights had all their pieces.
Listen,
Do you
they
remember
got
when-
some decent players, but
Yeah.
but are you kidding me? The
Yeah,
conference finals.
Your team that won the Pacific Division, making your way, you're one
won the
series away
Pacific
from making
Division.
the Stanley Cup Finals. It's crazy to see what many people thought of the Golden Knights, saying, "Oh, this is going to be a dud, another team in the desert." We saw we saw how bad it was with the Coyotes. Can the Knights get it done? They got it.
They destroyed.
They got it done.
Destroyed the Los Angeles Kings.
Yeah, they destroyed the Kings.
They just beat
squeaked
a
by the Sharks.
very good. They
Yeah.
beat a very good Shark
And
team.
thank goodness they
2
beat the
years
Sharks because
ago-
I cannot stand the Sharks one bit.
I know, but you know what? They just the Sharks took care of Anaheim.
They did.
Very quickly. So you had to think that they would be very tough. I didn't think the Golden Knights would beat the Sharks, but I mean, I picked the Sharks, but I just like I only picked them because I just figured, you know what, they're on such a run, but logically there was no reason to pick them to beat them.
The only thing I can compare it to is when the Panthers and the Jaguars came in to the NFL.
Yeah, but the
Panthers,
the Panthers were good in their second year, not the first year.
That's what I'm getting at.
Second year, not first year.
Because I think they both came in '96.
Right. The Panthers second year were really good. And the Jaguars,
It wasn't their first year they lost to Green Bay in the NFC Championship game with Kerry Collins.
No, it was the second year.
Second year.
Yes.
But still, that's the second year. This is their first year.
This is their first
That's the
year.
only thing I can even and I remember the Jaguars beating in their second
the Jaguars,
year.
Their
They
first
beat
year,
Elway and the Broncos
the first year the Jaguars were there. They were like 1-15, weren't they?
They were pretty bad that
and then
year.
they got Brunell and
right, and they made the AFC Championship game in 1999.
Right, it took them
which
3
was
years.
their third year, and
Yeah.
that's unbelievable in
Yeah.
my opinion.
But the Arizona Diamondbacks did it pretty quick too. Would it take them 3 years to win a
The
championship?
Marlins too.
The Marlins
But
did it quickly too. But
our point is, all these things we're talking about, these are multiple.
not the first season. Not in the first season.
I'll be damned if this team doesn't win the Stanley Cup.
I don't think they. I can't.
Oh, you're
imagine-
Lightning.
I can't imagine that they would beat the Tampa Bay Lightning.
You were right on with the Lightning there.
I told you they were going to destroy Boston. It was one game.
Well,
I
they
mean,
looked pretty shitty in Game 1.
Yeah, but the
So
next
I was
four-
doubting you, and then they ripped off 4 straight.
And I told you
They really didn't even break a sweat.
No, they did it. The last game was so easy. It was Boston clearly gave up the last game after they got a quick 1-0 lead, and as soon as Tampa Bay tied the game, it was like you could tell Boston was just they knew it was over. They couldn't skate with them. Tampa Bay is too fast. I mean, they have so many scorers on that team. They're gonna do the same thing if they play. They're gonna have a lot harder time if Washington beats Pittsburgh. They're going to have a much more difficult time beating Washington.
Would you
than
say
they
that
would
was
Pittsburgh.
1-1?
It's still 1-1, yeah. If Pittsburgh wins, Tampa Bay will roll them. If they play Washington, it's going to be a little tougher because Washington is big enough and strong enough to make life miserable for them.
I'll put 100 down right now that says Sidney Crosby scores the game-winning goal tonight, and it goes to Game 7.
Oh, are you kidding? I wouldn't bet against the Penguins to beat Washington. All I'm saying is I think Tampa Bay will make mincemeat out of the Penguins because the Penguins defensively are not that good
I don't
anymore.
think anyone's capable of making the Penguins look like mincemeat in the playoffs.
I think Tampa Bay can do that.
They have too many intangibles, the Penguins.
Not
They
as
just
many-
know how to win.
I understand that, but this team is
Tampa
not,
might win. Tampa's really
This
good. They
team-
can skate
this-
and score, and they have a good goalie, and they have everything you need.
This Pittsburgh team offensively is still real good, but I think Malkin is playing, but I think Malkin is playing hurt, and I don't think he's 100% effective. I think you got a 50% Malkin. And I said it before, I'm going to say it again. Defensively, the Penguins are nowhere near the level they were the last 2 years, and they don't have Fleury to fall back on when Murray starts playing like dog crap. And Murray,
and he's done that.
He's done that a
plenty
couple
in this
of times
series
and-
against
yeah.
the Capitals.
Yeah, and he did it against the Flyers, and he's done it against the Capitals. And again, as far as the Penguins are concerned, especially against a team like the Capitals, it's going to take a lot more than just slapping them around. It's going to take a knife through their heart to knock them out of the playoffs. And
Knife to the heart of the Penguins, you mean?
Yes. Before the Penguins are out, it's going to take. I just don't. If the Capitals, I mean, honestly, and as much as fun as I've made of the Capitals over the years, especially this year, I really do. I am rooting for the Capitals to finally break through.
Well, they're gonna lose.
Ovechkin's having a very good series. He has finally stepped up to be the great
I
player.
know he had the game winner a few nights ago.
I know he's been playing. Listen, he's been playing great, but he's. At this point now,
He'll find a way to lose, just like his
This-
buddy, just like Russell Westbrook.
Here's the thing. Right now, the Capitals have a chance to knock them out right now in Pittsburgh. Okay? Tonight, in the third period, Alex Ovechkin has to go out there, be the grade 8, and finish the series now. Don't let it go to a Game 7. If it goes to a Game 7, you just know the Capitals are going to choke, especially at home. They
I know.
always choke at home. They have a a history of doing it, and that's what I'm saying. They have a chance to knock these guys out now. You better do it.
I know. Alex Ovechkin and Hillary Clinton, the two worst closers, left-wing closers in the history of Washington, D.C.
That's true. They've got, but
can't close.
But Alex,
I'm just an independent, so I'm
can't
not,
close.
Alex Ovechkin.
I'm not gonna answer that one.
Has to be the man in the third period. The Capitals need to win this series tonight. If it goes back to Pittsburgh, if it goes back to Washington for a Game 7, I don't care if the Capitals have home ice advantage in Game 7. They will find a way to lose, just like they always do. You know, plain and simple.
So, gun to your head right now, who's playing who's playing the Lightning in the Eastern Conference Finals?
Oh God, if my life were to depend on it, how could I possibly put my life on the Washington Capitals?
You can't.
Exactly. I would say that the Penguins are going to play the Lightning. I think the Lightning beat them in 6.
Winnipeg, Nashville, they're going to play after the Penguins conclude. The nightcap on NBC Sports Network. The Jets are up 3-2.
And Game 6 is in Winnipeg.
Game 6 is in Winnipeg.
Goodbye, Nashville.
Goodbye, Nashville. Breaks my heart to say that about Peter Laviolette.
Yeah, I think Winnipeg is just looking.
It's probably one of the better of the series so far.
And you know what? There's
Winnipeg,
another
Nashville.
team that's been under the radar all season, but they are a dynamite team. And you know, I hate to bring this up, but do you remember Sports Illustrated how they picked the Astros to win in 2017?
Yeah.
Well, I think they picked the Winnipeg Jets to win in 2018. 3 years ago.
Good for them.
I think I actually do remember reading something about that. About the Jets.
You throw enough bullshit at the wall, something's bound to stick.
I mean,
lucky guess.
I can understand with Houston though, because Houston they had they had that really good minor league system coming in, and the players and everything.
If you have the first overall pick for as many years as the Astros and these teams like the Nationals, all them years. The Rays, they're never good because they never pay anyone. But you get what I'm saying. I mean, if you have that many first overall picks, not first round picks, first overall picks in a row, and you can't right the ship and build a core to make a run.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, just give up.
You're not wrong about that. Look at Atlanta. All the first round picks that they've
had.
Yeah. Now all of a sudden
the Braves. We're talking.
Yeah, the Atlanta
Braves. Yeah, they're having a great season.
Winnipeg has been horrible for forever. They finally
they got that guy
Line. They finally struck
that guy's
gold
a beast.
with Line. But I mean they've got some other guys.
He's what, 19?
20, I think.
20?
Yeah, he's dynamite. He's a dynamite player. That team is fast and big, and they've got a lot of scoring too, and they play good defensively too. I mean, a series between them and the Knights, boy, I'll tell you what, that would be some series. And boy, you know what? Whoever wins, I mean, I would have to go with Winnipeg. I can't see Vegas beating Winnipeg. I just can't.
We say this every week when we run through our picks for the next round, and they just advance.
I know, but
you said it before. They destroyed the Kings. They take care of.
They took out the Sharks.
They scored 5 goals in the first 5 minutes of Game 1 against the Sharks.
Yeah, I know they did.
Something.
I know they
crazy.
Kicked the extra point. You know what they
7-0 in the NHL playoffs doesn't happen.
No. Well, it happened to the Flyers, but I mean,
and the Sharks.
And the Sharks. I mean,
well, the Flyers are in a class of incompetency all on their own.
Yeah, but to do that to the Sharks, I mean, Vegas, it amazes me. Can they actually beat Winnipeg? Oh, God, I don't know.
They've come this far.
Yeah, I know. And they're going to have, if they play Winnipeg, they're going to have home ice advantage, and nobody seems to ever beat Vegas in Vegas.
Winnipeg, I don't have the page up in front of me, but Winnipeg has an extremely good home record as well.
Yeah, the Winnipeg whiteout, it's
Winnipeg is
crazy.
Dynamite at home. That's why I just don't see Nashville.
A2D Canada, James Wilder, he keeps us informed.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I mean
our neighbors to the north.
Yeah, I mean Winnipeg is awfully good. They're awfully good. Tampa Bay, though, I getting back to Tampa Bay, I think they beat Pittsburgh in
They've
6.
been your pick. I mean,
I've never
you
veered
do
off
pick
of
them.
them.
You do pick
I picked them before. I picked them before they got McDonough and
Right, you
and
pick 'em-
Miller and all those other
I mean, in
guys.
fairness, you do pick them before every hockey season to win the championship. So you did it
'Cause
this
they
year. And you
had-
might be right.
I did it last year too, and then they got it. They had all those injuries, but you know what? This year, Stamkos has been healthy the whole season.
I forget who I picked.
Pittsburgh, I think.
My money's in on Pittsburgh.
I would
so.
say you pick Pittsburgh. I mean, and that's a pretty good bet. I really, again, I think Malkin is playing hurt. I don't think he's 100%, and I don't think that their defense is as good as it's been in the past. And without Fleury, that's a big difference. Look at Fleury with Vegas. I mean, it's
He's
unbelievable.
the main reason.
Yeah, I mean he is the key, and they play good defense. But what amazes me is that these guys score, and I mean Jonathan Marchessault, seriously.
All right,
It defines.
I gotta stop you. We gotta take a break. You'll go all night. You'll go all night.
It defies my imagination.
We're gonna come back. We're gonna talk more
On
about
YouTube,
Browns.
you can still go
On
on
YouTube.
On YouTube.
See
Yeah.
Brad go
I-
nuts about the hockey playoffs.
Carlson just,
Exclusively on YouTube. HUD Radio, the Sports Hounds.
Let's
Be
get this music
right after
going.
this.
Here we go.
Frank, you just got to start playing the music.
I'm trying to play the music, but our music bets it froze out.
boy.
Come on, iTunes.
Brad, he'll go all night. He'll talk till 4 in the morning
No,
about
I
hockey.
just can't. I just cannot.
There we go.
believe-
Come on, iTunes.
I can't.
There we go.
There we go.
There
All
we
right,
go.
Sports
All right.
Hounds, HUD Radio. We'll be back right after this.
Hi, folks. Bob Mannery here. You're listening to A2D Radio, real sports talk radio for the fans, by the fans, no agenda. These guys are the best in the business. Hashtag it. No notes.
All right, welcome back. A2D Radio, Rob Brinkman, Brad Ryer, Frank Vesby producing. 30-26, Cavs lead the Raptors in Cleveland. 1-1 in Pittsburgh, Game 6 of the Eastern Conference semifinals. But Brad, let's get to some baseball here. Phillies putting it on. Jeff Samardzija, the San Francisco Giants. 8-0. The score is Odubel Herrera got it going in the first inning with a 3-run home run, and they have not looked back.
After a tough series lost against the Nationals this past weekend, they really need to bounce back.
Oh, well, yesterday was absolutely brutal. Brutal.
I know.
I mean, you're up 4-1 in the 8th, and you lose 5-4. You managed to get 4 runs across on a starter in Scherzer, who was just absolutely dealing, 15 strikeouts. Not that's a surprise for him, and then you lose that game. Garcia comes in, Neres comes in, Tommy Hunter comes in, and they're just throwing batting practice, letting up runs left and right. You lose 5-4. That's a crushing loss.
Yeah, that was they needed to rebound tonight. That's a good sign.
Eflin on the hill tonight.
Who pitched for the Phillies yesterday?
Jake Arrieta, if I'm not mistaken.
He was strong until the bullpen came and blew it.
Maybe it wasn't Arrieta.
I think you're right. I think it was Arrieta, actually.
I think Arrieta pitched Thursday. I mean, either way, it's the bullpen. The starter did well, and the bullpen didn't. You see this team kind of slowly coming back to earth here because the bullpen is just terrible. I mean, Tommy Hunter's a nice player. Hector Neris, I mean,
they just don't have a stopper. That's the problem.
In the bullpen, you mean?
Yeah. They really.
And then
Pavetta's
been terrible. Velasquez been. I mean, Pavetta's been bad lately. His last couple starts, he had a strong start, but
he hasn't pitched well. Lately. I mean, you're gonna have guys.
If you're relying on Nick Pivetta to give you 162 games, like being a full season pitcher, consistent full season pitcher, I mean that's a huge problem.
Well, I think right now he's more like a 500 pitcher.
Right.
I think you're gonna get a good outing and a bad outing and a good outing, and I don't mean wins and losses. I mean you're gonna get a good outing and a bad outing and a good outing and a bad outing. I think you're gonna get half the time you're gonna get real good, and then the other half you're gonna get and that's still pretty rough.
Carlos Santana. Thank God Kapler took him out of the 2-hole. He's been absolutely terrible. Below 170 average, below 300 on base percentage. I get he's not a 300 hitter, but 170, 169
he's like
to be
a 250,
exact.
260 hitter.
Yeah, that's
you
way higher than the
even,
169 he's hitting right now.
You can't even
a 299 on base percentage. I mean, Brad, I said it all winter after that signing. Be careful. Let's not get too excited over this guy. He's a career American League player. He can't DH in the National League. He has to play every day. He can't DH. I was wary of the signing.
He's a pretty good hitter, though. I mean, I'm surprised he's been doing so poorly. I really am.
I'm not. This happens all the time when hitters switch leagues, especially veteran hitters who have spent their whole career.
Look at Stanton.
But Stanton is a higher pedigree than
I know, but he's been having a tough. I'm just using it as an example. He's been having a tough time too. You know, it's not so easy going to another league and learning new pitchers.
Also with Stanton, like if he has a slump like he's been, I mean, he's got Judge to pick him up. He's got Gregorius to pick him up. He's got, hopefully, Greg Bird soon to pick him up. Gary Sanchez.
Well,
I mean,
they have their
Brett
whole,
Gardner.
He has the whole
It's a
lineup to
murderer's
pick him up.
row.
Yeah.
If Carlos Santana is not hitting, that leaves a huge hole in this offense. You can't have a successful National League lineup that
No, because you have the pitcher in
because
the
the
lineup.
Phillies have to score.
And
They
most
have to
teams-
score
and
runs
Most teams
because
don't
their
have,
pitching's not that good.
Most teams don't have good hitting catchers either.
So when you have a
So-
detriment, and the Phillies don't have a good hitting catcher, I don't know what they're doing at catcher. Jorge Alfaro has been terrible. Andrew Knapp stinks. I don't know what they're doing at catcher. So then you have catcher and first base. They're basically outs. You got Kingery over at short, who's out of position, but at least he can hit. Hoskins is a beast in left field. Herrera is a beast in center field.
So they've got
Right field's a total question mark.
Right now, their 1 through 6 is pretty good, but 7 and 8 are that's one whole inning. If you're having
Cesar Hernandez
three-
might be the best second baseman in the whole National League. He's
Yeah, I
playing
mean,
unbelievable.
you have three automatic outs is tough.
Right, with Santana, with
Santana,
the pitcher.
the catcher, and a pitcher. That's tough. You know, I mean, it's tough enough with. It's tough enough when you don't have your catcher and your pitcher. When your first baseman is doing nothing in the National League, that's tough. I mean, you can get away with it in the American League because you have a DH. So usually, you don't have to have that pitcher in there. But boy, it's tough in the National League because you've already got that built-in out. You know, and it's so important in the National League to turn over that lineup. I would think that Santana at some point is going to start hitting. I mean,
He better for $20 million a year.
he's too good a hitter to be hitting this badly. I mean, look at Edwin Encarnacion, how bad he was for the first last week. He broke out. He had 3 home runs, you know, and he got some big hits against the Yankees. Not enough hits because obviously the Yankees swept them. But I mean, a lot of guys get off to slow starts and then they start hitting. I would
Right.
think that he's going to start hitting soon. He's too good a ball player not to.
Odubel Herrera just went yard again in the 6th. His second home run of the game.
What is that, 9-0?
A 2-run. It's 10-0.
10-0. Okay. There you
2-run
go.
Jimmy Jack. Reese Hoskins comes in. Herrera bats himself home. Odubel Herrera is unbelievable.
He's a talented player. He's a talented player. If he
He's a beast.
yeah,
He has all the tools to win the batting title. All of them.
he does. He does. I can't even disagree.
I
with
love that he's a free swinger. He makes contact. I wish he would walk a little more. But even with him not walking, he has an on-base percentage through the roof.
Listen, it doesn't. If you have a good on base percentage, it doesn't matter if you hit your way on or you walk your way on. Getting on base is the key.
And Carlos Santana has homered tonight.
Well then, okay. You know, maybe this is the start of something.
Maybe.
You know, I mean,
10-0 in the 6th. I mean,
listen, there's a lot of good players that are really off to bad. Look at Conforto. I mean, Conforto is down to 180 now.
He was hurt though. We'll see. Yeah.
He's down to
We'll see about
180. You know, there are some guys that are just not. Brett
Well,
Gardner was down to 190 the other day.
The
and then he
Mets,
finally started hitting.
the Mets are a team in the East that are in trouble because Jacob deGrom is injured.
He's supposed to be back next Sunday, so we'll see. About
We'll
that.
see. Hyperextended elbow on his throwing arm. That sounds dicey.
That doesn't sound good.
Doesn't sound good at
sound good.
all.
Cespedes is already complaining about his quad.
So, I mean,
So-
we'll see. I mean, I thought they had staying power, but if they don't have DeGrom for an extended period of time, they're going to fall out of it.
And the rest of their staff.
And the
is
Braves
terrible.
are just clicking right now. They have Acuna and Albies at the top of the lineup with Freeman there in the middle.
They're a good team, a good young team.
They have Newcomb, Fulton Nevitz, Tehran's bouncing back. They have a good team. They're
Yes,
going to
they
be
do. Yes, they do. They're going to be furtive. I wanted to get your opinion about Matt Harvey, because in New York, that's a big story that the Mets finally cut bait with Matt Harvey. You know,
I can't believe it took him this long. Guy's a clown.
I mean, you look at him, where he was back in 2013, actually 2015, in the World Series. You know, that one game when he went out to pitch the 9th inning. I mean, from where he went then to where he is now, and it's hard to believe. I mean, I know
He
that's
did
a tough
have a
injury.
major
That's a tough injury.
Thoracic outlet syndrome or whatever it's called. That's a major surgery.
They're saying
I
that
get
nobody comes back
but
from that one.
The guy's shot. His arm's shot. He was injured, but he's such a douche.
He's only throwing 93 miles an hour now.
We say only, but like that's really fast.
Yeah, but he was throwing 98, 99. Before, even when he came back from the whatchamacallit, from the Tommy John, he was throwing BBs back.
What I don't understand is why he won't go to the bullpen.
He did go to the bullpen. He got destroyed in the bullpen.
But he refused at first. But he's got a bad attitude about the bullpen because he thinks he's a starter.
Yeah, well, he's delusional.
But he can ramp it up for 6 outs, 5 outs.
Here's what I don't understand about him, and I'm going to use this guy as an example, okay? CC Sabathia, okay? CC Sabathia barely throws 90, maybe 91 miles an hour. Okay?
Nowadays.
Yeah, but he's very, very effective. He has completely changed his game. CC Sabathia used to be a guy who threw 97, 98, and then had the 84-mile-an-hour changeup. Okay? Now he doesn't have that kind of a fastball anymore. He went and he became a pitcher. Matt Harvey, I don't know if it's his ego or what it is, but
100% his ego.
He will not adjust his game to be an effective pitcher.
He wants to pitch like the hot shot who can throw 100 miles an hour, and he can't throw 100 miles an hour anymore.
No.
CC Sabathia did a fantastic job of reinventing himself.
He changes speeds. He puts a little on, he takes a little off. He pitches to the edges of the plate. He keeps the ball down. That's what Harvey needs to do. He's got the pitches. He's got enough of them. But he still thinks he's the Black Knight, and he can turn around and throw 99 miles an hour and get the ball and throw the ball by people, and he can't.
A guy from Philly who was always reinventing himself was Jamie Moyer.
Oh yeah,
on
absolutely.
A bunch of teams.
Absolutely, and a lot of guys have to do that. Frank Tanana. I don't know if you remember him when he first came up. He was with Nolan Ryan with the Angels. When he first came up, the guy used to throw 100 miles an hour. Then he hurt his arm and then was throwing junk. But he stayed in the league, won over 200 games.
Right, because he wasn't stubborn like Harvey and realized, hey, like I can't pitch like I used to. My arm got cut up. I had to get surgery.
You wonder who's going to pick him up because somebody is going to give him
the Rangers
shot.
And the Giants have both expressed interest.
Okay. So
I don't know why you would want him in your clubhouse.
I don't know why you would want to put him on the mound if he's not going to go to the minors. They were talking about maybe the Yankees picking him up, but the Yankees would never pick him up. And the Yankees would love to make the Mets look bad anytime they could. But if the guy's not going to go to the minors.
The guy's done. He's got bad attitude.
He does. And could you imagine him pitching in Yankee Stadium? He'd give up 20 home runs in a game probably.
And then probably get killed by the Yankee faithful.
Yeah, they'd be all over.
Especially if it's a Friday night game.
I'll tell you what. The Yankees getting to them, boy. Every guy they seem to bring up from the minor leagues becomes a very good player. I don't know. Maybe they're just blessed right now, and they're extremely lucky. But
the Yankees and the Braves, they're top-notch, highly rated farm systems. They're all panning out.
But I can't remember this many guys. They're both of them are making it look. You look at the Yankees, okay? They bring up 2 years ago. They bring up Judge and Stanton, and for the most part, not Stanton. I'm sorry,
Sanchez.
Judge and Sanchez.
Yeah,
Sanchez fit right in immediately.
Uh-huh.
It took Judge a couple of months. The following season, last year, he looked great. This year, they bring in and Severino. They bring him in, and
unbelievable.
And last year he was one of the 3 best.
Gleyber Torres is the real deal.
That
guy is something special.
You bring him up this year.
There's nothing he can't do on the baseball field.
Yeah, you put him
nothing.
at second. Andujar looks very, very good at third, and then they bring up Domingo Germán, who had pitched in Houston earlier in the week. He pitched long relief when Montgomery hurt himself. He pitched 4 scoreless innings against the Astros. The Yankees bring him in yesterday to start against Cleveland, and all he does is throw 6 no-hit innings against the Cleveland Indians in his first major league start. Strikes out 9 guys. I mean, it just seems like every guy they call up just goes right in onto the team and becomes a big time player.
I'm sorry to interrupt your Yankee talk, but I did just get an alert on my phone about Matt Harvey.
Yes.
The Mets are expected to work out a trade with Matt Harvey to there's a handful of teams that want to trade for him. So I
Okay.
guess he's fooled at least a couple of teams.
Well, his agent.
Hopefully one of them's not the Phillies.
Yeah, you don't want to have you don't want him.
No,
anywhere
young
near your
team, bad
Nah.
attitude. I don't want him around
No.
anywhere.
No, I can see.
Something tells me
Something tells me it's
Kapler
gonna
and
be the-
Harvey would
Yeah,
clash.
something tells me it's going to be the San Francisco Giants because you know what they always seem to love taking a shot at players who are on the scrap heap. Have you noticed that lately? Every junk player that comes through, they seem to try to get and see if they can make them good again. I mean, McCutchen is a perfect example of that.
make Matt Harvey great again. Can anybody do it?
Matt Harvey has to want to. Matt Harvey has to want to be CC Sabathia. He's going to have to want to throw 91 miles an hour, which is what he's throwing now. Then throw 88, then throw 92, and then throw a couple of curveballs inside.
Pitching. He's
Yeah.
got to pitch as opposed to
Exactly.
throw.
Yes, he's going to have to be a pitcher because he cannot throw the ball by anybody. He has to throw like 3 or 4 changeups in a row to somebody, and then throw a high fastball, and then it'll look like it's 100. That's what he's going to have to do. He cannot. It's unfortunate for him, and I kind of do. Even though I know he's a douchebag, I still feel bad for a guy who's had so many injuries, who had all that talent, and because of injuries,
If he wasn't
can't
such a
pitch.
douche, I would feel bad
Yeah.
for him.
No,
'Cause that's
I-
unfortunate. He was an outstanding talent.
I mean, it's not like he's some drug addict or some thug that's done a lot of bad things, went to jail and did stuff like that. He's just,
he's just an
he got-
asshole.
yeah, he is, and you
he's
know
like
what?
Terrell Owens,
He's
except he's not good
he's not Terrell
and
Owens.
doesn't try his best.
No, and he it's always been.
Just saying, it's a comparison because T.O. he had bad attitude at times, but
Yeah, but T.O.'s bad attitude.
I
is
guess
gonna
it's
be
not that
in the
good
hall.
of a comparison.
He's gonna be in the Hall of Fame.
He is in the Hall of Fame.
He isn't. Well, I mean, and it's rightfully so. T.O. is one of the all-time great. I mean, if you take a look at like Doc Gooden's career, okay, Doc Gooden may have flamed out, but he had a pretty good career. He won over 200 games.
Mm-hmm.
Or if he didn't win 200, it's right around 200 games. It maybe 188 or something like that. Matt Harvey, I think, only won 50 major league games.
Not that many.
No, he didn't win that. He didn't win because unfortunately his team never scored any runs for him. But I mean, and it just from up to 2015, if you take a look at his numbers, he was off the charts good. But since 2016, he's been bad, and it just gets worse and worse and worse. So somebody has to, as I said, somebody has to get inside his head and make him understand that he needs to be a pitcher and not just go out there and be the Dark Knight.
Matt Harvey has to let somebody in his head first.
Yeah, he does. I don't know if he can do it. I mean, I hope for his sake he can. To me, it was kind of sad to see a guy with all that talent, just lose it because of injuries. But I mean, that's kind of what happened with him. Getting back to the American League, okay, and I wanted to just make this point about the Yankees. This past weekend, I'll tell you what, 2 games, the Friday night game and the Sunday game, they had no business winning either one of those games, and yet they did. The game on Sunday, they were down 4-0 in the 8th inning, and Clevenger was pitching a one-hit shutout, and he walked a couple of guys in the 8th inning, and Terry Francona basically panicked, and he brought in what's his name?
Cody Allen.
Cody Allen, who's their
Well, they have
who's
no.
their-
They
have
have
nobody else.
They have no Andrew Miller.
No,
He's
they-
injured.
Yeah, they brought in Cody Allen.
It's a huge loss because that's Andrew Miller. Clevenger gets in
Miller
trouble
is-
in the 8th. Andrew Miller's going to come in and shut it down. Then Cody Allen's going to slam the door in the 9th.
But the
And
problem
the
was
Yankees are
he
done.
didn't- He came into the 8th inning, and the Yankees lit him up, and they scored 3 runs in the 8th inning. He had already thrown 20 pitches. Then he came out in the 9th inning, and Hicks immediately hit a double. And then Neil Walker, of all people, doubled him home to make it 4-4. Then finally Francona realized, you know what, he doesn't have it. And then he brings in Otero, and they intentionally walk Stanton to pitch to Gleyber Torres, and Torres hits one deep to right center field. I mean, it's one of the deepest parts of the ballpark, a 3-run home run to win it 7-4. I mean, these are the kind of wins that the Yankees have been getting. I mean, in Houston, they were behind 5-3. They come back in the top of the 9th with 3 runs off of our favorite relief pitcher from the Phillies, Ken Giles, who still can't get anybody out.
He's terrible.
He cannot get. He may get guys out, but when he sees the Yankee lineup, he obviously shrivels up and goes away because he can't get the Yankees.
He almost
out.
lost the World Series because of him.
Yeah, he's
terrible.
Yeah, he's one of these guys that when he's pitching against bad teams, he'll get the saves, but against a good lineup, he just gets torn up. I mean, he's not a great reliever. That's for sure. Houston may have a great starting staff, but their bullpen is still bad, and unless they fix that bullpen this year, they're going to have problems because it's not just the Yankees.
They're going to add a reliever at the deadline, like all potential contending teams do, and it'll be fine.
They're going to have to get the right one.
Kelvin Herrera is a name that comes to mind from the Kansas City Royals.
He's pretty good.
Be a fantastic fit.
The guy from Baltimore, if he gets
Zach
healthy.
Britton. I mean, he's hurt right now, but I mean, we'll see about it.
He's the one that scares me.
Might have the best changeup of all time.
If the Orioles can get him healthy, he would be perfect in Houston. And he's a guy that the Yankees have never been able to solve. He owns the Yankees.
There's a lot of teams that haven't been able to solve him.
Yeah,
He's a really good pitcher.
But you've got the Red Sox, too, and the Red Sox have been playing just outstanding.
They have. Still
baseball.
1-1. 2 minutes to go. Pittsburgh, Washington. We'll keep you updated. If anything happens there, we'll let you know.
The pressure mounting in Pittsburgh.
The longer this game stays tied,
I
the
think
more
it's an
it
advantage
favors
for Washington. I think the more it favors Washington.
You think?
Well,
I would say the complete opposite. I totally disagree.
I think Pittsburgh. Well, remember Pittsburgh has to win or they get eliminated.
Understand, but as the pressure mounts, the more confident I get that Washington's going to wilt away.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I mean, it's Washington though. I got to give them credit for one thing. I mean, they have been able to win these tight games. I mean, after losing those first 2 overtime games against Columbus, they have found a way every time in overtime to win these games.
Nicholas Backstrom was not in the lineup tonight for the Capitals.
And they're still he's not a critical player for them anymore though. Kuznetsov really is their top center at this point. Backstrom is now their second line center.
Still, I mean, without your second line center
that's
against
a big loss.
the Penguins,
that's a big loss.
This isn't some Tuesday night against the stinky Flyers. Like, you got to have all hands on deck against the Penguins.
I agree. We'll see what happens there. I think that the pressure right now is on the Penguins because they have to win to stay alive. But we were saying just the Capitals, based on their history, Capitals need to win that game. They cannot allow these things to happen. Bob says that watching the Cavs, their coach needs to buy a ticket because he has no clue.
Not sure what happened. We're here during the show, but maybe Bob will explain.
Yeah, he's watching
SJM86LL was watching it and saying the same thing. I wonder what he did.
Something must have happened. Something must have happened, but I wonder what the score is there. That all the what the uproar is over there. Let's see.
I mean, Tyronn Lue is no Red Auerbach.
I mean, it's 47-42 Cavaliers. So I mean,
they're up 5.
They're up 5 still. What happened, guys? LeBron may be the best player coach if he stays. Well, yeah, we know that.
Well, he's the player coach now. He's been the player coach.
He's been the player coach since he got in.
No one knew it yet, but when he was with Spoelstra in Miami, Spoelstra was a good coach.
Spoelstra's really a good coach.
Yeah.
He didn't get any credit for those championships.
But I mean, Tyronn Lue.
Tyronn Lue isn't so bad, is he?
I think he is. He just has LeBron.
Well, yeah, that's true. They somehow though managed to get to the finals every year though. LeBron, how many years in a row has LeBron been in the finals now?
7. This will be 8.
unbelievable.
If he gets there this year, that'll be 8.
I wonder now. The Celtics won 9 championships in a row, so I guess Bill Russell did it 9 times in a row, and then they lost that one year to the Sixers, and then they won like 2 or 3 more. So, I mean, you think about that for a minute. It's remarkable.
It's silly, is what it is. It's crazy.
It's remarkable, and they'll probably.
But the East stinks, Brad.
Yeah, no, I realize that.
The East stinks. It doesn't count because he's in the East.
Oh, come on.
I'm just saying.
All right, so what does he have to go play in the West in order for it to count? Is that
To some people.
Oh God.
Either that or he has to get in the time machine to the 80s and go back and play then.
Oh, okay. Well, maybe he could play in the 60s when guys weren't that big.
It'd be something. Then they'll go back and either hop in the DeLorean and go to the 80s and dominate then.
Yeah.
Oh,
I mean, come
never
on.
be able to do that.
Guy's a great player. I mean,
The coach watches the big screen to see what happens. He does watch this. Tyronn Lue. He does watch the big screen a lot.
well, yeah, but all those guys do that. I mean, is that really any different from anybody else?
According to Bob, it's a big deal right now.
Something must have happened.
Lou doesn't trust his eyes whatsoever, then watches the screen and then confers with Braun. LOL.
And in Pittsburgh, they now go to overtime.
Overtime.
Oh,
free
boy.
hockey.
Oh,
See,
boy.
now I know the Penguins are on the verge of elimination, but
Do you really think they're going to get eliminated, though?
no. Crosby's
Me
going to
neither.
score.
Me
He's
neither.
going to score. I bet you Crosby's going to score.
Oh, you know what? That's like betting.
He's going to go bar and
That's
knock
that-
the water
that's
bottle
almost-
out
almost
from
like
the top.
betting on-
He's going to get a water bottle goal.
Yeah, that's almost like betting on the on Secretariat. Yeah, you just get you get the feeling that the Capitals are going to screw this up because
They
now,
always do.
now the Capitals are in a situation where if they score the next goal, they don't have to defend the lead anymore. They can just go in and they can score, and that'll be the end of it. Because that's the one beauty of overtime. It's
Right.
sudden death. If you get ahead, you don't have to defend that lead. It's over. That's the beauty of it. So, I mean, as far as the Capitals are concerned, this is it. If they can't do it here, then they're never ever going to get into the conference finals because you know that they're going to lose Game 7.
They're not. They're going to lose tonight. They're going to lose Game 7. Ovechkin's not a winner. He'll never win anything besides the Vezina Trophy or the Hart Trophy.
The Hart Trophy, yeah.
Either the Vezina Trophy goes to the top.
That's the goalie.
What's the one where you get it if you get the most points in the league or in the East?
The Hart is the
That's
Hart,
the MVP.
The Hart's the MVP. I don't remember. I think it's the Art,
President's
the
Cup
Art,
or
I think it's
something?
the Art Russ Trophy.
For the playoffs,
No, for scoring.
scoring.
No. For the top.
The top scorer, it's the Art
No,
Russ
not the
Trophy.
top. Not individual. The team one.
President's Trophy.
Oh,
The President's Trophy.
Oh, you could have as many President's Trophies as
That's
you
what
want.
I'm
Nobody,
saying.
Nobody gives a crap about the President's
Oh.
Trophy in hockey. The President's Trophy.
Clearly,
is-
Alexander
is a-
Ovechkin
it
does because
doesn't-
he
it
wins
doesn't-
that every year, but never gets to the conference
Yeah.
I
finals.
mean, it doesn't work well for teams that won
This
the
isn't-
President's Trophy in recent years.
This isn't.
because the Flyers would always do that.
This
Back in
isn't-
like the early 2000s and late 90s, they would win that every year and
This
then
isn't
lose
soccer,
to the Devils.
okay?
Yeah.
and
This
Scott
isn't. This isn't soccer where every time you get where every time you win a championship of any kind, that it's a big deal. It's not like that in hockey. In hockey, there's only one trophy that anybody cares about, and that's the Stanley Cup.
SJM 86, the Conn Smythe.
Conn Smythe is the MVP for the playoffs.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes. I was thinking about the scoring champion during the regular season. I believe that's the Art Ross Trophy, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong.
Well, the President's Trophy and whatever that trophy is.
Yes, Frank.
It is the Art Ross Trophy.
It is the Art Ross Trophy.
It is
okay.
It is.
There
the
you
Art
go.
Ross.
Give one to the Gipper there. I got
Yes,
one.
Frank is
Had to verify it.
SJM 86 is Frank in the house. Yes,
Frank is here.
Frank's every Monday. Frank
Hey yo,
kicks it.
I'm here
Part
every
of the
Monday.
team.
He's here. Frank and his sunglasses are both here.
He took them off though.
Yeah.
He had to read the screen to look up the Arthur Ross trophy. So
Yeah, I
he
had to take off. I had to take the glasses off, put them back on, take them back off. I mean, it is a little bit bright in here, but
Keep in mind the guy that wrote the song "I Wear My Sunglasses at Night." That's Frank.
because I can.
Yes, exactly. We're not going to go to some of the jokes that we told before, though.
Yeah.
About because you can, because we're not going to go.
Or Montana. Anything about Montana.
No, nothing about Montana or where it's located. If you know me, you know what that joke is. But you have to know me to know that joke. Anyway, that's.
But we digest.
Yes.
Yes, we surely digress. At this point, I want to get back to baseball again. We have
what do you want to talk
a big
about,
3-game series coming up in
look at
the
that
Bronx between the Yankees,
the Sox, and the
Red
Yanks.
The Sox.
You have a big 3-game series coming up.
Drew Pomerantz, I believe he's facing Luis Severino tomorrow.
I would give that one to the Yanks. Game 2 is Masahiro Tanaka, and I think he is going up against...
The Yankees are better than the Red Sox. I know the Red Sox might have them by a few games in the standings still because of their hot start. One game.
Sale is not pitching this series.
There's
Porcello
no
is
doubt
pitching,
in my mind that Rick Porcello has been really good this year.
Rick
by the
Porcello
way.
is pitching Thursday against Sabathia.
Rick Porcello has been fantastic this year. He's
Yes,
pitching
he has.
like the.
I think the Red Sox win that game. I think the Yankees win Severino's game. I'm trying to remember who's pitching against Tanaka in the second game. I'm trying to remember the Red Sox. Oh, Price. So Price goes against Tanaka. I got Tanaka in that game too. I would take Tanaka over Price, and I would take Porcello over Sabathia. So I think the Yankees do win 2 out of 3. I think they pull even at first place. You're looking
Whether
at
it happens now, it's only a matter of time. The Yankees are a better team than the Red Sox.
what's amazing is 24-10 and 25-9, and they're both in the same division. One of those two teams is probably going to be a wild card. And to think about the fact that these are two teams that are probably going to win over 100 games. They may win over 105 games. I believe that they're both that good. One of them could potentially lose a 1-game series and be out of the playoffs before the playoffs even start. What do you think of that?
I mean, that's the American League for you.
Better win that division. That division is
crucial.
Because
it's
you know
crucial.
if you don't win that division, you could have to play against Shohei Ohtani in the playoffs.
In a one-game
playoff. And you know what? You never know. It's not
whoever finishes
so
second
easy.
in the East. I mean, there's that AL wildcard game. I can just see it now. I know we're projecting a long way off, but
well, I think you can pretty much
be a lot of good teams in the mix for that wild card.
I think you could pretty much say that either the Yankees or the Red Sox, both of them are going to make the playoffs. One's going to win the division. The other one's going to be the wild card. They both have very big leads right now. I think they're already like 4 or 5 games up on the as far as being in the wild card. I think it's that high.
I mean, I don't look at wild card standings in May. I think that's a complete waste of time.
I always do when it gets.
I
to
barely
this
look
point.
at standings in general. It's May.
Yeah, but you don't want to start falling too far behind. But if you take a look at some of the teams that are competing for the second wild card, it looks like Toronto is going to be competing this year. They got a pretty good team. The Angels look to be a pretty good team. Now,
the Mariners are playing really well.
The Mariners are good if Paxton can stay healthy and Felix Hernandez can stay healthy. The Mariners certainly have a puncher's chance there. Also, the Minnesota Twins, if they can ever get going, there's certainly talent in that ball club. I would think that at some point they're going to start playing better. Interestingly enough, the Cleveland Indians right now are a 500 team. I mean, what is going on with Cleveland?
It'll be fine.
Their bullpen has been real bad.
No one's challenging them, though. The Twins stink right now. The Royals stink. The White Sox stink. The Tigers are in second place, but they stink.
They all it's Yeah, I mean, I guess it's the complacency of being in such a weak division. But boy, 17-17 for a team with all that talent is. I mean, Francona must be shaking his head right now.
Has to be.
I mean,
SJM 86. We can talk about baseball as long as it pertains to the Phillies. Would make sense. This is a Philly market. What do you want to know about the Phillies? We talked about the Phillies. We talked about the Phillies earlier.
We did.
They're up 10-0. Carlos Santana stinks. The bullpen stinks. Herrera's a stud. Hoskins is a stud. I think they're going to win less than 75 games. I maintain my prediction from the beginning of the year. Their bullpen's back to earth.
And they are
Pivetta and Velasquez. I like Pivetta. He goes out there and tries his best, but he's not as good as he represented in the first and April. He's pitching lights out in April.
And unfortunately,
he's a 500 pitcher.
They play in a pretty tough division. I mean, we didn't think that this was going to be a good division, but you know what? After taking a look, we know that the Nationals are going to start playing better.
Yeah, well, they're getting their guys back from the DL.
They're too good not to. When is Murphy going to come back?
I don't know.
But
he had significant knee surgery in the offseason, and he's just not right yet. Rendon just came back.
Turner was out for a while too, wasn't he?
Not done on the DL, but you might miss some games here and there. Bryce Harper's hitting leadoff. It's unbelievable. He hits 2 home runs a night. The guy's a freak. But I mean, you look at the Phillies. They have 3 automatic outs in their lineup right now.
And that's hard.
I know Santana hit a home run tonight. Maybe that can get him going here, but the Phillies need Carlos Santana.
Santana, when he's right, can be a supremely talented ball player, and he can get on base for you.
I was never excited about the signing.
See, I was. I thought you were getting a pretty good player, but again, he was real good in the American League, but he just. He hasn't learned the pitchers yet, obviously. But I mean, I don't know what's going on with him. I'm shocked because I think he's better than that. But look,
well, he's certainly better than a 169 average.
But listen, all is right in the world right now. You're ahead 10-0 tonight.
Yeah, that's fine.
Enjoy the fact that you're ahead 10-0. You're not losing this game. All right, you're still over 500, are you not?
Yeah.
Okay, what's the
Well,
Phillies
let's verify that.
What is the Phillies record right now?
The Phillies are currently 18-15.
So
Okay.
yes, they
Second
have
in the
some wiggle room.
You're sitting at 18-15. Obviously, it looks pretty good. I would have to assume that 19-15 is going to happen, and you're going to be a half a game behind Atlanta at this point in time. You're doing okay. I'll tell you a team that surprises me in the NL East that's been playing pretty well that I thought wouldn't win a game is the Marlins. They're 13-20, believe it or not.
They try hard.
They're 7-3 in their last 10 games. I mean
the Marlins stink. Let's not get confused. The Marlins stink.
They have no pitching, but
the Rays just won 8 games in a row, 9 games in a row, whatever it was, too.
Oh, I know.
These guys, they're still professionals. They still get paid. So, they're going to go on a mini run at some point in the season. The Marlins and the Rays are making their run now. They'll be pushovers once they get in the dog days, though.
You would think so. Although the Rays do have a couple of pretty good pitchers. Snell and Archer could pitch for my team.
Well, the Rays have 4 quality big league starting pitchers. They have Jacob Faria.
He's not bad.
Chris Archer's
He's
resume
very good.
speaks for itself.
Blake
Snell is very
good.
good. I'm missing one.
Who's the other one?
I'm missing one.
Okay, but I'll take your word for it. I know about the first 3 are pretty good. The Miami Marlins pitching staff is terrible.
I gotta look this up. I can't believe I'm blanking on this.
But the Miami Marlins pitching staff's terrible. But you know what? Looks like they've got some half decent young players on their team.
It's hard to argue with how they just recycle players and then end up in the World Series, every 12 years and win it.
Yeah, it's pretty remarkable.
And they have Jeter now. There's no doubt in my mind that Jeter's going to have them on the right track sooner rather than later.
Well, I mean, it looks like they got some good young players on their team. I mean, they're going to be going to Chicago for the next couple of games. And then they're home for the Braves, so we'll see about that. The Braves could really fatten up on them. But how about them going to L.A.? And this should really tell you all you need to know about the Los Angeles Dodgers. The Miami Marlins went into L.A. and they won 2 out of 3 in L.A. this week.
Well, I mean, I'll tell you, man, the Dodgers and the Cubs, in my opinion, they're in real trouble.
I think the Dodgers more than the Cubs.
It's not panic time yet because it's still only May. And yes, I agree with you. I think that the Dodgers are in much more trouble than the Cubs. But I mean, Darvish went on the DL today with some type of illness.
He's been pitching, and he's been horrible.
He's been pitching terrible. My main problem with the Cubs is they don't have a leadoff hitter.
They haven't really.
They never replaced Dexter Fowler from the team that won the World Series.
No.
He went to the Cardinals for all that money, which good for him. He hits leadoff for them now. But you need a leadoff hitter. Ian Happ is not a leadoff hitter.
So they're not going to use Chris Bryant as the leadoff hitter?
They might as well at this point.
Like all these sabermetric freaks have all these.
Bryce Harper hits leadoff.
Yeah, I know he does. Manny Machado, they were talking about he might hit leadoff for the Orioles.
I mean, people laugh, but, I mean, you get an extra at-bat a game. Why not give that extra at-bat to your best player? It's not the craziest thing in the world.
No, I would rather have them bat second because I think they still get the benefit of an extra at-bat if they're batting second as well.
True.
You know, I mean,
it's fine. Then maybe there's a guy on base when they're up. I agree with that. But
yeah, I mean, the Yankees use Judge at the second spot. I think that Donaldson hit second for the Blue Jays. I mean, I'm just spouting a couple of examples. I know Manny Machado was batting second with the Orioles. I don't know if they've switched him since with all the injuries. But that seems to be
boy, they're bad.
Yeah,
the Orioles.
Their pitching staff is
fucking brutal.
Dylan Bundy has been awful. Tillman is a train wreck.
Tillman stinks. Bundy he's okay.
He's okay. He's like a number 4 on a good team, and he's their ace. And so far, it just hasn't worked out for Alex Cobb.
Holy smokes!
He's been getting destroyed every time.
He could be a second half player though. They paid him enough money.
You know, he really didn't have a spring training.
I mean, neither did Arrieta. Well, Arrieta's better than Cobb, but I mean, neither did Arrieta.
Significantly better than Cobb.
Agreed.
Yeah, I mean, you know, Arrieta is a legitimate ace at
he won the Cy Young.
Best. Yeah, he's a legitimate ace. At worst, when he's at his worst, he's still a number 2, a legitimate number 2. So I mean, Cobb at his best day is a number 3, and in his best day, and he's more like a number 4. And the Orioles went and paid all that money for him. They're that team, and they're not hitting all that much either.
Yeah, and then you look at the National Leagues. Dodgers are in real trouble because Arizona is running away and hiding with the NL West.
And the
Rockies are a good team, too.
The Rockies are real good. And you know what? The Dodgers lost Seager. He's gone for the season.
Seager's done. Turner's yet to play.
And Kershaw is now on
Kershaw's
the DL.
on the DL. Kenley Jansen's been horrible.
I mean, that team's in trouble. Matt Kemp, believe it or not, is now their number 3 hitter and playing left field, and he's playing every – It started off.
Him and Grandal are the only ones doing anything.
It started off that he was only going to play against lefties, but he's the only one that's hitting. Period. And Grandal, as you said, so now
they're in real trouble.
They're
in real trouble.
And they just got shellacked this weekend by the Padres. So the Los Angeles Dodgers, who
the only bright spot they have on their whole team is Walker Buehler, top prospect who's going to stay in the majors.
Rob,
now.
If you were to tell me at the beginning of the season that the Dodgers in a week's time would lose 2 out of 3 to the Marlins and 2 out of 3 to the Padres.
Bad.
That is not championship baseball.
I mean, what's the deal? Are they hung over from the World Series or
I mean, I realize
obviously they're injured.
They don't have
with
Seager.
Kershaw,
they don't have
Seager, and Turner.
Yeah, Seager and Turner are out.
They need Turner to come back and hit the ground running away.
Turner isn't even ready to play rehab games yet.
Right.
Okay. He's still basically. I think right now he's still taking.
He broke his wrist.
Yeah. He's still taking.
Not his hand. Not a little bone in the hand.
No,
his
he
wrist.
He broke his wrist.
That's a big injury, especially for a guy who relies on.
Right now, and believe me, I've been keeping close track on.
He's on your fantasy team.
He's on my fantasy team. From what I've heard, he's been with the broom handle right now, just swinging broom handles right now. So
He can't do it?
No, he can swing a broom
He can
handle.
do that. Okay.
But that's a broom handle. We're not talking about a bat. He has not hit a bat off a ball off a tee yet. Okay, so I mean, he's
Big
still
problems.
He's
So
still.
we're talking about June now.
They're talking at least he's got probably 10 days. They're thinking that by the end of this week.
Yeah, but then he's got to strengthen it up. Then he's got to go to rehab games.
Well, no, they're thinking he could be in a rehab game by the weekend. They're hoping. But again, they said it was a 6
I don't understand
to 8 week
I
injury.
don't understand. You just told me that he's only swinging a broomstick.
This is what I was.
And now he's in rehab games on the weekend.
This is what
that
I
doesn't
read.
add up, Brad.
This is what I read, but I don't quite get that either. I don't know how you can go from a broomstick to being in rehab.
Where'd you read it? CNN.
No. Roto World, which is pretty accurate.
I'm just kidding.
Yeah, no,
Roto World's good.
They're pretty accurate. So I mean,
Fangraphs.
yeah, but
Another one I like for you fantasy baseball nerds out there.
Yeah, the only thing I would say though about Roto World is they told me that Shoop was going to be playing 2 weeks ago, and I started him like a big dummy, and he never played, and he's still not playing, and he might be. Everybody in the world is saying he's going to be activated tomorrow, but
Now, do you know how to work the computer now so you can pick up guys without having to text me to do it for you as the commissioner?
yes,
You figured it out?
I figured it out this morning when I had a break. What I was doing wrong. So, yeah, and I cut Conforto like I wanted to.
Right.
And, of course, he led off the game tonight with a home
But it's
run.
a weekly league, Brad.
Yes, no, I realize
You have to scroll over to the following Monday
Yeah, no, I know.
and make your changes on that day.
Yes.
Because that's when
And
it's
that's-
reflected.
Yes, so I'll have
There you go.
scope. I'll have scope next week. So
We'll get you.
we're
I'm going to start
getting
telling
there.
Frank not to help you before the show anymore. We gotta whip you into shape, bro.
Oh boy, I'll tell you what. So what do we have? 4 guys now that are 4-1.
I'm 4-1. I'm
Yeah.
a lead.
I'm
below.
below. I'm below 4-1. So I have
You're
the fewest
4-1
points.
too.
Yeah,
Well,
my
Brad,
average
you have-
victory is 4 point. It's like 4 points a week.
The win's a win.
That's true.
And you have Mike Trout, and you have Aaron Judge, and you have Justin Verlander.
Yes, and they've all been pretty darn good.
Studs.
And-
Studs.
And it looks like I have a real good second baseman now. Torres.
Oh, you picked up Glaber?
I
It's a
picked
good
him.
pick. There's nothing he can't do on the baseball field.
I picked him up before he got called up.
Odubel Herrera, man. Another 2 home runs tonight. That guy's been a fantasy machine.
How many home runs does he have now?
He's got to have 6 or 7 with 2 tonight.
What's he batting like in the 300s?
So I was at the game on Friday, April 27th. He had 2 home runs in that game. He's got 2 tonight. That's 4.
Wow. Okay. So
I
I mean,
think he's got 5 or 6. He's
Let's
got to
see.
have 5 or 6. His on base is through the roof. He's an MVP candidate.
let's see.
Odubel Herrera is an MVP candidate, Phillies fans. I know a lot of people, like our old friend Ray Maffo, are gonna hear that and just cringe. And no, he doesn't hustle. He's an MVP candidate. This guy's hitting 340 with 5 home runs. Hits in the heart of the order. We just looked up the record. They're 18 and 15, about to be 19 and 15.
He is actually hitting 333.
That probably
He is 40 for 120. He's already scored 16 runs. He has 15 RBIs. You know, that's pretty good, guys. He's
that doesn't, because those were his stats this morning.
okay.
that does not
doesn't
include
count
tonight.
Okay.
So how many home runs does he have there? What's he got, 3 or 4?
Hang on. Let's see. 7 doubles, 1 triple. It says 3 home runs here. That can't
3
be
home
right.
runs. So he's got 5 now. I
Yes.
said 5 or 6.
Okay. So here it is. In 120 at bats, and that was going into tonight. Okay. In 120 at bats, 40 hits, 7 doubles, 1 triple, 5 home runs. How many RBIs does he have tonight? Like 5?
4. I think
4,
they were
okay.
2 2-run shots.
Okay, so 5 home
No,
runs.
I'm sorry, 5. The one in the first was a 3-run shot.
Okay, so he has 5 home runs, 20 RBIs, 10 walks, which everybody was saying, oh, he never walks. His on-base percentage is .391. His OPS is .874. I mean, this guy is playing some real
Those
ball.
are MVP numbers.
Those are big numbers, Rob.
I mean, he's not the MVP because Bryce Harper's in the National League.
Yeah,
so
but
that's
you know,
unfortunate.
but he doesn't have to win the MVP for Philly fans to be happy. If he hits 333 and he gives you guys
no,
20,
he's like the
20,
poor man's
22,
version of LeBron.
22, 80.
Odubel Herrera could cure cancer, and Phillies fans wouldn't give him his credit.
He looks like a pretty darn good player to me.
He's a fantastic player. He's an all-star talent.
I mean,
He was hitting
I'll
well
tell you
below
what,
the Mendoza line for the first 2 months until June, and still finished with a 290 average. Odubel Herrera is a fucking stud. I don't understand how Philly fans don't see it.
What is everybody? Well, I'm taking a look at his batting averages since 2015: 297, 286, 281, 333. That guy's a damn good hitter.
He's a professional hitter. Anyway, we got to wrap it up. Sports Hounds will be back next Monday night, 8 to 10, HUD Radio. See you next week.